Hey everyone! Welcome back. I am back today with the very highly anticipated next episode of Kamen Rider Saber, you guys. If you're joining me early today, you already know what it means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so much, and as always, I'm sending you up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in the description down below. So, well, guys, we've had to wait a little while for the next episode of Saber. There was a little break in between, so I went back and refreshed myself on some of the events of the last episode, and I was like, oh, yeah. We had the King Arthur guy who's the sword, and I don't think he's like really like a sword. Some of you have suggested like he's a sword in the same way that like Saber can turn into a sword, you know, like he's not an actual sword. He was just a sword for a little while. It's complicated, you guys. Just you know, I'm trying to keep up. It's all good. So we also had probably the highlight of the episode being everyone kind of turning on Touma, which really made me mad, but the way they did it was really good because whoever is the real traitor, which they're really setting it up to be, what's her name, Reika, the southern base chick, and I still kind of have my doubts. I'm still kind of like, I feel like that's too easy. Maybe there's like, she might be in on it, but like who is the actual mastermind behind it, or are they setting her up as a red herring? Although it pretty much looks like it's her now. I mean, she's definitely up to no good. She's definitely up to something. But you know, the way that whoever was the mastermind who set this whole thing in motion set it up, it was done cleverly enough that you know, there was some believable stuff in the idea that like, well, you know, Touma now has that blade, or like Touma is kind of buying into what Caliber said to him at the end and everything, and they already know kind of that situation that he obviously they were at odds with him, so like there's enough kind of believability, I would say, about it, that, you know, if you were someone who is so devoted to this organization, and particularly like in Rintaro's case, it's like his family and everything, I mean, there's enough to be like, there's enough to make this scenario believable. Even though it makes me so mad to see them like, I'm sorry, you just met this person, and like, I know this is far-fetched, but I'm over here thinking like, how do we even know she's really from the southern base? How do we even know there really is a southern base? I could show up and be like, hey, so I'm from the southern base. How you doing? Like, who verified this? Did she have like a identification card? I'm going kind of like off on a limb here, but you know, there's that part of me that's mad that like they would undo that friendship that has just been built up and is so important at this point between all of them for that. On the other hand, I do get it to a degree. So we're in a tough spot here. Touma's now, you know, separated from his crew. We met Yuuri, which I mentioned. We met YUKI, who I really liked, and I completely blanked on the fact that YUKI means snow. And YUKI turned into a Yeti. We had a lot of like YUKI, Yuuri, Yeti. We had a lot of kind of similar sounding words in the last episode. But yeah, so we've got our stuff going on for sure. I do feel like they've just escalated things so quickly at this point. Like, I feel like usually it's like, it's 2/3 into the series by the time we're getting stuff of this nature. Like, people being split up from their friends and that kind of turmoil, and just a lot of things. We got character death and everything. Like, we're speeding up a lot of the tropes, you know, in this one. And I'm so curious to see, like, okay, if we're getting that trope this early, where are we even headed? So, you guys, there's only one way to find out, and that is to go ahead and jump into this highly anticipated next episode of Kamen Rider Saber. Let's go. Alright, you guys. So as if it was not stunning enough that we have a man who is a sword, and I guess he really is like, he's like an actual sword. Like, he's like, nah, I'm a sword, I can't eat food. But he looks like a person, like a human person. But no, I guess he is actually a sword. I love Touma's reaction to that, how he's like, but wait though! Touma, that actor's just killing it for me. So he's not only a sword, but because he is the sword of light, he has light-esque powers, meaning he also has power of a shadow, because you can't have a shadow without some light. The shadow form was spectacular, you guys. I love it. And it's cool to see like an actual rider form as well, not just like a weapon form. But I've never seen anything like that. That was awesome. But you can see that apparently there is a big difference between the way that the swordsman operated 1,000 years ago and now. Which is to be expected, I suppose, but Yuuri. Don't tell me Yuri's gonna turn against him, too. And then we're gonna have Yuuri off doing his thing. The other swordsmen, our other friends, being misled by the southern base. And then just Touma just trying to keep it all together. I honestly have no clue. Even Tassel, who we last saw... you know, we saw him, not last, but we saw him with Yuuri. So apparently they are friends? Acquaintances? I don't know. I still don't know, like, what realm Tassel exists in. Because at first, I think we all just assumed he was a narrator. And now, like, it's clear he is somehow a part of the story. But even he was like, no, bro, that's too far. You've gone too far. So he clearly just has no regard for, like, you know, I'm just gonna, like, cut down people from the other side and the things that they do. I don't really care if it's, like, humans in there. That's just what I do. Whereas we know Touma has a much more, he has much more of a value for human life, obviously. His whole thing is just trying to save this world and the people in it. He's not gonna, you know, he's not gonna get on board with that. Love that the other swordsmen are still having their doubts, but now they're still just gonna kind of follow orders and go and try and get all that back from him. I'm just really hoping, you know, they're a lot of, they're a smart lot. It's a lot of smart folks. And I feel like at some point that chick's gonna slip up. Someone's gonna notice something and be like, but I thought you said X, Y, and Z, and it's just gonna be just enough to kind of get the wheels turning. I really hope we're not gonna spend, you know, 30 episodes with them at odds. I think that would, although, I mean, it's definitely interesting conflict that they've presented here. It's making for an interesting story, although I hate seeing, I just feel like Touma's like in constant torment now, which I hate seeing. Also, the clothes copying power was fun. It was fun to have some lighthearted moments on this show. We've had a lot of stuff on the show, and it was nice to have some lighthearted Yuuri moments. So Yuki is still, we still have to figure all that out. Can the people inside even be saved? I guess we'll find out. So, all right, you guys. Once again, they just do not disappoint with cool new forms to look at, interesting new conflicts. You know, I was happy halfway through this episode, like, man, at least he has Yuuri. And now we don't even know about that. So, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen, how they're going to resolve it, when they're going to resolve it. Like I said, you know, we're going to go with like this heartbreaking conflict for like a super long time on the show, or is something going to happen and it's going to be just enough to kind of, you know, shed light on the whole situation so that all our crew is back together again. I have no clue, but you guys, there's only one way to find out, and that is to watch next time. So, I'm just, I'm just so impressed by the show. I hope you enjoyed watching it along with me. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. Please be sure to join me next time. We will watch it together. Bye for now, guys.